Hey y'all, do you love middle ground? I know I do. Did you know that every purchase made at the Jubilee shop helps fund this show? If you're looking for ways to support Jubilee and watch more episodes of Middle Ground, make sure you check out our merch at shop.jubileemedia.com. Honestly, every one of your purchases goes such a long way and we're so grateful for you. Now enjoy this episode.
Every single year of my sex education, we had to sign an abstinence vow in our books. We actually had a teacher get written up because she taught the girls' sex ed class how to put on a condom. My name is Jeremy. What I love about being in the country is being in that bubble of people that you know and you care about.
One of the misconceptions is people in the city think that people in the country are like less educated.
When I hear city teens, I think of party people.
My name's Mandy. I am from LA, and I love it because of the character. 1 second you're seeing someone, a model, walking down the sidewalk, the next a homeless man is peeing on the ground.
When I hear country teen, I just assume they kind of just don't have a lot of experience with people from different walks of life.
In the city, I've always felt included. I've always had a friend group and people to relate to.
Step forward if you agree. City teens are bitchier than country teens.
Well, of course city teens are more bitchier than, sorry mom and dad. Of course city teens are more bitchier than country teens because you guys have so much more to deal with.
It's just kind of a rule out of safety where you don't even make eye contact with anyone because then you're putting yourself at risk because there's unfortunately a lot more bad people that are willing to do bad things in the city.
Can the disagreeer step forward?
I want to say I'm a selfless person, I'm a nice person. However, you know, I have that bitchy side. Me coming out as like a bitch is now just me making sure you know who I am and how I am going to run my things.
In the city, like even just driving, everyone else is so like selfish and self-important where they're getting where they want to be even if they're putting other people in danger.
I almost had a heart attack this morning when so many cars, like especially like in the city, they'll just cut you off. Yeah. The drivers, they don't care at all, so I'm like, okay, so that's normal.
People learn more practical life skills in the country.
I grew up in a huge family of like 8 siblings and we've always lived on a farm and I've had a lot of like life skills. Like now I know about plumbing and like water tanks and different things that I can now use in like my adulthood, like now that I'm not living at home.
My hometown specifically, the upstate South Carolina, is considered like industrial, so we have a lot of factories. So they teach you a lot of very practical hands-on skills, woodwork, auto parts, auto body. In my opinion, AAA is not going to help you in the country. Yeah. You have to learn I had to learn to change my tire multiple times before I actually fully understood it.
I don't know how to change my tire. I've never done it once in my life.
My dad makes sure I keep a jack in my car just in case of that.
Would you say it's more encouraged for you to do more of that trade stuff that you learn, or do they encourage you to say, hey, feel free to go out into the city and learn the technology?
They give you the option, but going into the workforce was always a good option for people who maybe couldn't have afforded it in XYZ and stuff like that.
Yeah, personally, I've decided not to go to college at this moment, even though I graduated this past year, and I feel like I have enough skills to the point where I could get like jobs that don't require a 4-year degree.
A big part of practical life skill is like human interaction. And I think in the city, you have a lot of opportunities to meet a lot of diverse people, different kinds of people. You have the ability to network.
Well, would you consider that social skills or practical skills?
I think social skills definitely are a practical skill.
But I feel like in the city, you learn skills that are also equally useful to living in the city. They're just not the same ones, right? Like one thing I think about a lot is Uber. Everyone in the city knows that if something doesn't work out, something goes wrong, there's always an Uber. Assuming you have money, there's always like an option, someone you can contact. Whereas if you're in, the middle of nowhere, there's not going to be an Uber, period.
Moving to Charlotte was definitely a culture shock for me. I didn't know how to use a parking meter. I charged myself 4 times on a parking meter because I didn't know how to use it.
Would you consider that a practical skill? That's the question, right? Because what is a practical skill in now society? Is it knowing how to use a parking meter? Like, that's odd to think about, right?
Exactly. When I moved there, I just didn't know, and that's why I refused to even go towards the city limits.
I had sex education in school.
Every single year of my sex education, we had to sign an abstinence vow in our books. We actually had a teacher get written up because she taught the girls' sex ed class how to put on a condom.
I think the importance that schools place on sex education is extremely lacking. Why aren't we worried about how good of people we're going to be? Because sex education also includes, sexual assault, rape. Like once we put our mindset into, we need to educate on things, not just science, math, reading. That's how you create better students. That's how you create better people.
My parents wanted to have me learn it from them because my family's very Christian, that everyone has a different view of how they think about sex. So I think sometimes it's important to have parents teach that to kids. I don't know if it should solely be on schools.
Which I don't think it should, but the problem is a lot of parents won't. As a woman, we're not taught a lot about our anatomy and our health as much as we should. I was diagnosed with PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, with periods and that kind of stuff. We're not taught what's normal, what's not normal. We're just taught you have one. I got hospitalized because of my condition because I didn't know about it. I wasn't taught about it. And I feel like there's more to sex education than just intercourse.
People in the city have access to better education.
Where I'm from, it was very underdeveloped. 30 minutes away, there was private schools. There's always a private school with the better education, better funding. And we were having to have teachers travel just because of how horrible our conditions were at my school. And these kids will go to Ivy League colleges where I'm going to community.
I think there's a lot more of a requirement to be educated in the city. If you don't get a certain quality of education, your options are just not going to be good enough to afford a lot of the lifestyles that people live in the city.
Where I'm from, it's the workforce, blue collars. We're the people who provide for the rest of America. So if we can find a job without our education, that's more important because that's what's putting food on the table. Why are we going to break our bank if we can find a job without one?
The school that I went to, basically there was a lot less people there and there was more help for people that needed it and one-on-one time with teachers. So I would say that's the reason I've seen a lot of country schools having higher test scores and all that stuff.
The high school that I go to, it's heavily funded. There was one time I did go to an inner city school and I was like, whoa, this is different. They don't have what we have. I hate to bring this up, but sometimes when you go to those inner city schools, who do you see the most in those schools? And that's when it comes into the race factor. It's been seen in history that more Black and Hispanic schools, they often are less funded than these PWIs.
Do you think that's because of their race or because of just where those people tend to live?
We can start a whole entire conversation about redlining and how they're all packed there and somehow they always end up to have the least funded schools, but that's a whole entire other conversation.
I have a diverse group of friends.
I have a lot of people who don't view the world that I do, who are not Christian, who are atheist, stuff like that. So I think it's important to have those friends because as a Christian, you're called not to just be in a bubble and not just be friends with people that agree with you because that's just an echo chamber that doesn't do us any good.
I would say it's always a great opportunity to be able to learn new things from new people and really expand yourselves. I would say my main group though is mostly Asian American because that's where I find common ground with people. It's about what you have in common, sometimes what you don't have in common.
I think friends are a luxury. I've never had a set group of friends growing up. I've always been the weird homo in the background. I was that token friend. I was the token gay. And it was never, I wanted to hang out. I just wanted you as my arm candy at school. Always the white girls just never want to hang out with me in public and always want to hang out with me in front of their friends. My friends are just the people I see at work or the people I'm kind of around because I know my boyfriend has a big friend group and I'm just around them. I know I'm never gonna feel like I fit in. It's just that one insecurity that I know I'm never gonna find that friend group that is gonna stick with me forever.
I feel safe where I live.
I'm a tall white dude, at least that's what people see. And like that's a huge security in the city. And I know I have friends who are not tall, not white, not dudes. Like changing all those three factors determines kind of where you feel safe and has a lot more to do with like me rather than just like my area or the city itself.
Yeah, personally, like growing up on a farm and predominantly in the city or in the country, there's not very many like dangers. Like you can just be home alone at like age 10. No one's really gonna like bother you. A lot of people have guns, so people are not scared of other people. It's more like natural disasters or like animals or different things like that. I was talking with some of my family members and they were like, oh, now that you live like by yourself in the country, maybe you should get something like bear spray because that's more of a threat than someone like coming to the house and like trying to rob us.
Yeah, I carry around a personal alarm with me wherever I go. I keep it in my bag because I want to be able to pop it open and alert everyone around me to be like, hey, I'm small and I might go missing. Like, I feel the need to have those things, unfortunately, and it sucks that I do. I know someone brought up guns in the countryside. For me, in the city, guns are scary, not protection. Because if someone has a gun in the city, they're not protecting you. They're likely gonna shoot you. I had a school shooting by my neighborhood. So it's definitely something where, you know, it's hard to feel safe even going to school.
You know, in the country, you rarely ever hear things happen like that. Like, I guess it's just a luxury that we have in the country. You can just walk around, maybe go on a late night jog or whatever, you know, things that you can't really do in the city.
I want to switch lives with the other side.
I've seen what it's like to be in the city, and I feel like, especially in the city, there's like way more opportunities. I really wanted to get into, you know, acting and stuff like that. Like in Texas, you don't really see that much of that.
There's always something going on in the city, which is great, but it also means, and there's always all kinds of different people, but it'd be nice to like spend some time just being in the country and figuring like stuff out for myself.
I feel like I'm like literally the opposite of you. I want to change the pace. I want mine to be faster. You want yours to be slower.
When I was a kid, I've always wanted to like live in New York City and do that whole thing and do like fashion. But obviously like everyone's opinions change and what they want to do changes. So I know personally I want to end up in the country and just like live on land or live somewhere that's very peaceful and like not super busy.
I personally love city life. Like, I love city life so much that I went from LA to New York City, which is even more city than LA. I did live in Georgia for a little under half of my life, but just from personal experience, as like a minority, we tend to be less accepted where there's less of us. And when I lived in Georgia, there weren't a lot of Asian people. When I was a kid, like I would overhear people making fun of my mom's accent, my dad's accent, about how they spoke. To compare to where I live now, those things don't happen as often.
I love my quiet life. I love living on the outskirts. I love just not having to worry about much but my bills. To me, success and happiness don't go together. If that's me living just where I am, what I'm doing right at this moment, that's okay.
It was interesting to me with you guys both being minorities in the countryside, just seeing how you experienced being in the country, because I think it's a stereotype that, you know, there's a lot of people that are ignorant and bigoted in the country rather than the city. It's more accepting.
I feel like all of us are more on the same wavelength than I think our parents had with, you know, people from different walks of life. Like if we were to meet again, the word country wouldn't come to my mind at all. Like at any point, it would just be like, you know, peers.
I would handshake, but you know.